right, hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating uh, some basic defenses against a rear grab around your arms and a couple other grabbing and grappling attacks that people might use either uh, seriously to attack and damage you or as a joke. One thing to be aware of when dealing with anti-grappling techniques is we're going to assume your opponent got the jump on you and already has their hand on you before you even realized it was happening. That way we're actually defending against something other than, just stepping out of the way. All right, now, so the typical from the rear grab with both of your arms are down in a natural standing position and your opponent has caught you off guard from the rear and grabbed their arms around you. What you can do is you can throw your left arm up into an elbow position like this, and your right arm comes up like this, all right? And that's going to break their grip on you somewhat, especially if they're not ridiculously stronger than you. And then you're going to quickly step back into a cat stance, and you're going to throw an elbow strike, and I'll show it sideways. So the attack comes, I'm going to pop up like that, go into a cat stance, and elbow strike. So I've broken their grip, and I've elbow striked them in the solar plexus, and then from here I can back fist or grab them in the groin or something like that. And yes, we must have 30 groin attacks in Isshinryu because everything ends with a groin strike just for good measure. Either starts or ends with a groin strike just for good measure to let you know that it is there. If you're not strong enough to knock that guy off of you with the elbow strike alone to the solar plexus, you can always grab him by the nuts and rip him out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the basic defense that we teach there. If you have a 300-pound solid muscle offensive lineman or defensive lineman from football, and he's also got some high school and college wrestling experience, and he grabs you from behind, you might be screwed, all right? So I'm just letting you know that's not guaranteed to work against everybody. Another grab is just your typical one-hand grab around your wrist. If you're a woman especially, you probably can't break a man's grip once he gets it on you with one hand. But that's why you reinforce your fist with your other hand and then pull through the thumb, all right? Because one thumb opens up easier than the four fingers. You pull to the thumb side and your hand, especially if you're reinforcing with your opposite hand, you can get right out of that, all right? And then, of course, the full Nelson where your opponent has you like this from behind, all right? How do you get out of a full Nelson? It's a lot easier than it looks like on WWE. All you do is let your legs go limp, and you slide down, and you extend your own arms up as much as you can, and you'll slide right out of it. And as you come down, you can then sweep your attacker's legs and put him on the ground and run away or kick him again for good measure or whatever you need to do. Getting out of a sleeper hold from the rear or a rear naked choke from the rear is a bit more tricky, but you really need to you're going to try to throw the person. You're going to try to grab the person's shoulders, especially if they're in street clothes or a karate gi. You're going to try to grab the person's shoulder that they're choking you with, and judo throw them over your own shoulder. And you're going to you're going to squat your knees down as you reach back, and then you're going to pop up your knees and your butt and throw them over your shoulder, almost like the classical Ippon judo throw, okay, which is very effective and will generally give you some kind of arm control with your opponent on the ground and their head pointed towards you. And if you need to finish them off, you can palm heel strike them or punch them in the face or whatnot while they're on the ground. I wouldn't recommend, seriously maiming somebody or mortally wounding them, even in a defense situation, if it's one-on-one, because then they're going to sue you for excessive force And even though they started out attacking you, you might end up losing or you might both go to prison because you injured the other person more than was necessary. So, but if you're outnumbered 2 or 3 to 1, do whatever you got to do to save your own life. I mean, that includes breaking bones and maybe even ending the first attacker or two's life if necessary to save your own life. But don't do that unless it's absolutely necessary. You escalate force to whatever is necessary, and that's it. All right. Some other techniques. I wanted to discuss the actual Sanchin stance. Let me see if I can show this, because I forgot to do this in the Sanchin video, which kind of is a bit comical. Let me move this a little bit forward where I can show. The camera will hopefully catch my my feet more clearly. And yeah, it sees my feet. All right, so the Sanchin stance is very similar to the Seisan stance, except that your toes are more inward and your knees come together more. All right, so that's about a decent Sanchin stance. I haven't practiced it in a long time, but the purpose of this rather awkward position is that it's actually stronger in terms of balance than the Seisan stance, but it protects your groin from a rising kick a little bit more. So a person has to pretty much get past your inner leg muscles to get to your groin so they can't get a rising kick in on you. It doesn't do much to stop a front kick, but at least that's the purpose of the Sanchin stance. And then you just step forward into another Sanchin stance. All right. And Sanchin kata is not very long. If I remember correctly, because it's been a while, it's like 3 slow push punches that you're doing the breathing exercises and a push block. And then you step back 3 times with the double palm heels. All right. And that's Sanchin kata. All right. But I'm not doing it exactly right because I haven't practiced the full katas in a long time. I got too busy with my life and doing other things. And it was like, either I do full-time work or I do full-time martial arts. And then around the time of 2006, I got really sick from type 2 diabetes. And I've been fighting type 2 diabetes ever since then. I'm insulin resistant, but not insulin dependent. As you can tell by my belly, I can't get rid of this no matter what I seem to do. So that's the explanation of why I pack like a wash tub rather than washboard abs. So that's also why I kind of fell out of practice on the sequencing of some of the katas. I still know the bunkai and meaning and the techniques. It's just sequencing 30 moves or something like that became too much of a bother to keep remembering when I was no longer full-time training. All right, so I really need a partner, and I can't seem to get my roommate to participate. And I have a neighbor that said he would do something, but he doesn't seem to be genuinely interested. I want to find somebody that wants to learn and use them as a demonstration partner so I can teach better on these videos. But yeah, like Bobby Lashley in the full Nelson is BS. If you actually know what you're doing, you can get right out of that in less than half a second. It does not work in real life against somebody that knows what they're doing. You see, all right, thank you very much for watching. And this is going to be the end of the video.